Hey everyone, welcome back. It seems like a lot of you are really interested in learning more about yoga, and I can't say I blame you.
It is pretty fascinating stuff.
You guys sent in a ton of sources for this deep dive, like articles, scientific papers, and even some YouTube videos.
Mhm.
Articles from places like Johns Hopkins Medicine
Yeah, they're a great source.
and the American Osteopathic Association.
Oh, and some really interesting research papers too. It's great to see such a mix.
Yeah, it's super cool to see how much information is out there.
It really shows how much interest there is in yoga these days.
So, for this deep dive, I think we should go beyond just a basic overview of yoga.
I agree. Let's do a real deep dive into these sources.
We've got so many interesting details to uncover.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see what we can pull out of this.
Plus, we want to connect all this info back to you guys listening so you can actually use it.
Right, make it practical, something you can apply to your own lives.
Let's start with the physical benefits, since that's what a lot of people think of first.
Sounds good to me. I was actually kind of surprised by the Johns Hopkins article.
Oh, yeah. What was it about?
Well, they talked about how yoga can be just as effective as stretching for lower back pain.
That's interesting.
And the American College of Physicians even recommends it.
Wow, so it's really getting some serious recognition.
Yeah, and they specifically mentioned the cat-cow pose.
Oh, the cat-cow, that's a classic.
Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, it's all about gentle spinal movement. It helps a lot.
So it sounds like it's not just about temporary relief,
Yeah, it's more about building up strength in your back over time.
which makes a lot of sense if you're trying to prevent future pain.
Exactly. It's a
Yes.
proactive approach to back health.
But okay, honestly, the thing that really blew my mind was from that American Osteopathic Association article.
Oh, let's hear it.
They were talking about how yoga can actually improve athletic performance.
Whoa, really?
Hmm.
That's not usually what you think of with yoga.
Right. And not just that, but it can also help prevent injuries.
Huh. That's pretty amazing.
You wouldn't think a low-impact activity would have that kind of effect.
I guess we tend to compartmentalize yoga as just stretching.
But it's way more than that.
Definitely. It's about flexibility, strength, balance, the whole package.
And speaking of the whole package, that scientific paper we have was super interesting too.
Oh, yeah. The one about how yoga improves your cardiovascular health.
Yeah, that's the one. It was written by Rob.
Yeah, Rob's research is pretty well respected in the field,
And it basically said that yoga can really boost your endurance.
which is pretty impressive considering it's not a high-intensity workout.
Right. And it's not just for people who are out of shape.
They actually studied young, healthy people and saw a big improvement.
So it seems like everyone can benefit from it, regardless of their fitness level.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about yoga. It's so adaptable.
And speaking of feeling good, one of those YouTube videos had a really interesting point.
Oh, which one was that?
They were talking about how yoga can improve your posture.
Ah, yeah, I remember that one.
They even talked about how the position of your head can strain your neck and shoulders.
Which is super relatable for anyone who spends a lot of time at a desk.
Totally. I know I'm guilty of that.
Me too. It's a really common problem.
But it was cool how they gave specific tips on how to adjust your posture using yoga.
It's a good reminder that these sources aren't just theoretical.
Right. They're giving us actionable advice that we can use in our everyday lives.
And that's what makes this so valuable. We're learning and applying knowledge.
Exactly. So we've talked about physical benefits, but I think we all know that yoga is really well known for its effects on mental health.
Oh yeah, it's incredible for stress reduction and overall well-being.
And the WebMD article actually goes into the science behind it.
How cool. What did they say?
They talk about how yoga releases those feel-good chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine.
Oh wow, it actually changes your brain chemistry.
Yeah, and it's not just about a quick mood boost. It can have a lasting impact.
That's pretty powerful. I mean, so many people struggle with stress and anxiety,
I know, right? So it's great to have a tool like yoga that can help with that.
especially since it's so accessible. You don't need any special equipment or a gym membership.
Exactly. And you can do it pretty much anywhere.
I'm actually curious, have you ever tried a power yoga class?
You know what? I have.
Oh yeah. What did you think?
I was actually surprised by how much strength it required.
Yeah, it can be deceiving. It looks gentle, but it's a real workout.
It totally changed my perspective on yoga.
I bet. It's amazing how challenging it can be, even when it seems so calm.
It's like there's always another layer to discover.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's what keeps it so interesting.
I think that's a perfect place to pause for now.
Sounds good to me. We've covered a lot of ground already.
And we'll be back soon to dive even deeper into these sources.
We've got a lot more to explore, so stay tuned.
It really is amazing. And something else that really stood out to me from a few of these sources was the idea that yoga is for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. You don't have to be super flexible. You don't have to be young. You don't have to be experienced.
It's like those YouTube videos we were talking about. They were saying that yoga is so adaptable.
It really is. There are so many different styles and modifications.
Like the Johns Hopkins article even suggested finding a teacher who's trained to work with older people or people with limitations.
That's so important, to have someone who understands your specific needs.
Totally. So you can practice safely and effectively.
Finding the right teacher can make all the difference.
I know when I first started, I was so intimidated by yoga studios. I was like, I'm not flexible enough for this.
Oh, I totally get it. A lot of people feel that way.
But then I saw a video about chair yoga, and
Oh.
I thought, that's brilliant.
Chair yoga is fantastic. It's great for anyone with mobility issues.
Or just people who want a gentler approach.
And you still get all those incredible mind-body benefits.
So it's not just about the physical poses.
It's about the breath work, the mindfulness, the whole
Mhm.
experience.
And those are things that everyone can access, no matter their physical abilities.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you.
And that brings us to another point that a lot of sources mention, how yoga can really affect other areas of your life.
Like a ripple effect.
Yeah, exactly. WebMD actually said that yoga can lead to healthier habits overall.
Makes sense. You become more aware of your body and mind.
You start paying attention to what makes you feel good,
Maybe you start making healthier food choices.
or prioritizing sleep.
It's all connected.
And that scientific paper we talked about, the one by Rob, really emphasized patience and consistency.
Oh, yeah, because those deeper benefits take time.
Things like improved cardiovascular health.
Or a greater sense of self-awareness.
You don't get those overnight.
It's like anything worthwhile, you have to put in the work.
And speaking of putting in the work, I think it's important to remember that yoga is more than just a workout.
Definitely. It has such a rich history and spiritual depth.
A lot of sources hinted at that, like there's this whole other level to explore.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Like we're being invited to go beyond the physical and mental benefits.
And tap into something more profound.
It's a pretty powerful concept,
It is, and it's something that a lot of people are seeking.
especially in today's world. It's like everyone's looking for that deeper connection.
And maybe, just maybe, yoga can help us find it.
Yeah, it really is. So as we kind of wrap things up here, I want to bring it back to you guys, the listeners. We've talked about all these benefits, the science, the spiritual side of yoga. What does it all mean for you?
I think that's the big question. How do we actually use this information in our lives?
So if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I want to try yoga, what's the first step?
Well, I think one of the most important things we've learned is that yoga really is for everybody.
We've busted all those myths, right?
Like, you don't have to be a certain age or super flexible.
There are so many styles out there, from gentle flow to chair yoga to power vinyasa.
You just have to find what fits you best. What are your goals? What do you need?
Do your research, look around, try a few classes, different teachers.
Yeah, finding the right teacher is huge, especially when you're just starting out.
And remember that research paper we talked about? About being patient?
Yeah, those long-term benefits, they don't happen overnight,
It's a journey.
and it's worth it.
You might start noticing small changes at first, like feeling more flexible,
Stronger, more resilient,
maybe even a little more peaceful.
but those small changes add up over time.
So how do you make yoga a regular part of your life?
I think it's about making it a priority, like brushing your teeth.
Find a time that works for you and stick with it.
And don't be afraid to change things up if you get bored. Try a new class or practice at home with a video.
There are so many resources out there.
And don't forget about the power of community. Join a yoga studio or find a group online.
Yeah, it's always more fun with friends.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into yoga, we hope you feel inspired to start your own journey.
Yoga has so much to offer, no matter who you are.
It can help you feel less stressed, relieve pain, and bring more peace into your life.
Who knows, maybe you'll even discover something new about yourself.
Take a deep breath, unroll your mat, and see where it takes you.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration.
Namas.